Hello friends and welcome to this session for GATE and ESE Electrical Engineering. My friend, this session is going to be one of the most awesome session and you are going to really learn something very new and something that will help you in the exam. In the exam for GATE, may it be 2021 or it may be 2022. Now, before we start the lecture, my friend, let me introduce you myself. My name is Ankit Goyal. I got AIR 1 in GATE 2014 and GATE 2018. And my friend, I was also awarded the President of India Gold Medal by the President himself in the year 2013 when I graduated from IIT Indore. Presently, I am working as a director at an academy for GATE department, and that is why constantly I am able to bring new and more initiatives for you. Because an academy is not an institute. An academy is not a coaching. An academy is more of a revolution. An academy is more of a feeling. An academy has everything right that is wrong with every other coaching institute in the country. The name An Academy, my friend, has been comprised of two words, an and academy. That means it has everything that is not there in an academy. So an academy cares about the student in the best way possible. It cares about the student most than or more than any other person can. All the initiatives are centered on the student. That is, they are always working towards the student welfare. And that is why, my friend, you are watching this course on power system. That is why, my friend, you are watching this course on power system free of cost on our YouTube channel. So my friend, if you are visiting this channel for the first time, make sure that you have subscribed, because we have electrical machine, power electronics, power system, communication system, EMT, EDC, network, signal, control, digital, everything is here on this channel, that too free of cost, my friend. But what has An Academy done? An Academy has brought a revolution in the country where they are providing the most affordable education, and that too free of that too at the most affordable price, as well as free of cost on YouTube. So my friend, if you want to be a part of the revolution that An Academy has created by means of the courses that are running on An Academy, where they are bringing you the best ever educators of the country on a single platform. That is, you, my friend, can be able to learn from India's top educator at the cheapest or at the most affordable prices possible. At the most affordable prices possible. Now, my friend, I'm talking to you. You can dare to dream. You can dare to enter a PSU. You can dare to dream about MTech from an IIT. Why? Because An Academy has made it possible. An Academy has done everything that is required to get the best rank in GATE examination. So my friend, if you want to join An Academy, make sure that you use the code Ankit ESE, because the door to An Academy opens with this code, and this directly makes me your mentor so that I can guide you at each and every step regarding your GATE preparation. And not only this, you will also get 10% discount on your subscription. Now, what does An Academy bring for you? Not only the live classes. The live classes are the best part of An Academy, where you can interact with the educator, ask your doubt, and make sure that you understand each and every concept and then only exit the class. But other than that, you get dedicated doubt session, where you can post a pic of a question and ask any doubt, any number of doubts. Then you have weekly quizzes. Every Sunday we test how much you have understood. Then there are daily practice paper which we provide you for practice. Then there are practice questions from An Academy. Then there are test series from An Academy. Then there is crash course, where we will boost your rank in the last few months. There is rank improvement batch for the students who have already done well in the GATE examination. Now, my friend, all of this just with one subscription fees, where you don't have to pay anything again and again or anything extra. That is the magic of An Academy. Just join An Academy without thinking too much, and make sure that that you call on this number, the number that I am giving you to join An Academy. If you call this number, you can join An Academy. You can take information about any initiative that we are bringing.
Hi guys, in this lecture we'll be starting with the power systems course. So first of all, let us get acquainted with what is power system. So in this course, the units that we'll be covering will be transmission and distribution, the next unit that we will see will be fault analysis, stability, protection, economic dispatch, load flow. So these are the units that we will cover in this course, and the books that you can refer is Stevenson Granger for transmission distribution. Then you can refer J.B. Gupta, and also you can refer Ashfaq Hussain. That depends on you, but I think after studying from these lectures you won't be needing any standard textbook. You must only be focusing on the problem solving. Okay, so the theory that will be taught in these lectures will be enough for you. So let us first understand what is a power system. A power system is basically a complete system that is involved in generation, transmission, distribution and utilization. Generation, then transmission, then distribution and utilization. So the complete system is called as a power system. Generation is mostly done by means of synchronous machines that we have already covered in electrical machines. Transmission is done by means of transmission lines. Distribution is done by means of distributors. And utilization means loads that are connected to the system. So this entire system is called as a power system. And when it comes to India, there are 5 regional grids that are defined. First one is the northern grid. Next one is western grid, eastern grid, northeastern grid and southern grid. So these are the 5 regional grids that are present in India presently, and these all 5 grids are interconnected with each other. So in India an interconnected grid is present. So why the grids are interconnected? The grids are interconnected with each other because there might be some areas like the northeastern area where the industries are less, so the power utilization is less. Hence, the generation is more than the demand. So those areas can be called as power surplus areas as they have excess power. But the areas like north and south, they have a lot of industries. So there the consumption is more as compared to the generation. So those are power deficit areas. So we need to supply power to the power deficit areas from the power surplus areas. And that can only be done if the grids are interconnected with each other. Okay. But the problem with interconnection is that if fault comes at one location, then it can be propagated to the entire power system. That can be very disadvantageous for the interconnected grid. That means whenever we are interconnecting the grids with each other, we must take care that we are providing the enough or sufficient protection. Otherwise, the entire power system may be down due to fault at only one location. Okay. So there the concept of smart grid comes into picture, where the grid is able to locate the fault by itself, so there is no manual clearing that is required. Okay, so those who are interested in doing a project on power systems, they can implement a smart grid project virtually in MATLAB or some software else, because that is the most researched area in terms of power systems. Okay, so let us see a schematic of the power system. So these are synchronous generators. They are responsible for generating the power. So they are installed in power plants. Power plants are like hydroelectric power plants, thermal power plants, nuclear power plants. What happens is those power plants will mostly generate a steam by converting different type of energies into heat energy. Like thermal power plant will convert the thermal energy from the coal into thermal energy of water, due to which water is converted to steam, which is used to run the turbine. Turbine acts as prime mover to the generator, and generator will generate electrical power. Similarly, nuclear power plants also generate heating, which converts water into steam, which can run the turbine of the generator. So these topics we won't be covering in this course. You can read the quickie material that is provided to you for power system generation, as that is not mostly asked in GATE examination. Okay, but it can be asked in other state level examinations, so you can go through that once. Then these are transformers. What is the purpose of these transformers? They will step up the voltage for transmission. We will see in coming lectures why we will step up the voltage. Then the transmission level is usually kept at 220 kV to 765 kV. Here we have tie lines to other power system. Tie lines means the lines that are used to transfer power between different power systems. Okay, so here we can transfer power to the other power system. Then we will step down these voltage to supply it to the consumer. So here we have large consumers which are mostly industries. Okay, that is our primary distribution. Our primary consumers are industries. Those are most important consumers in our power system. Okay, so they are supplied at 33 to 132 kV. Then we will further step it down and supply power to medium large consumers. These can be households. Okay, so households are treated as secondary distribution, means whenever there is a shortage of power, industries will be given priority and power cut will be observed in the household or domestic areas. Okay, so they are not the priority of the government, or they are not the priority of the power system. Why? Because industries are engaged in manufacturing, and when someone is manufacturing, they are raising the economy of the country, so they are always given more priority. Okay, so that is why household loads are secondary distribution, and the distribution voltage for household loads is less as compared to the industrial distribution. Okay, so that is how a power system operates. First it will generate the power, then it will transmit the power, then it will distribute the power to different consumers. Now when we are designing a power system, there are certain objectives that must be met every time. The first and the most important objective is cost of energy. Cost of energy per kilowatt hour or per unit must be minimum. Why the cost must be minimum? Because if the cost is high, what will happen? That cost will ultimately be realized from the consumers. That will come in your electricity bill. Now suppose I am selling you an electricity unit of 10 rupees and someone else is selling at 5 rupees. You will definitely go for 5 rupees per unit. So that is why cost must be minimum, otherwise consumer will not be willing to buy the power. Okay, so in this we will study two things: economic dispatch and economic generation. These two topics we will cover in power system for minimizing the cost of energy. Next is V rated and F rated must be supplied to consumer: rated voltage and rated frequency. Why? If rated frequency is not supplied, then the consumer will be out of synchronism as compared to rest of the system, which will cause undesirable performance or worse performance for the load perspective. And why rated voltage? Because suppose the voltage in our homes dips, then what will happen? The intensity of tube lights, speed of fans and other electronic equipments do not work properly, because they need the rated voltage for consuming enough power and performing in a proper manner. That means the performance of our loads will suffer if rated voltage is not supplied. So to meet this objective, we study about automatic voltage and frequency control. Now usually the frequency depends on the speed of prime mover in case of synchronous generator. That means to control the frequency, we must control the speed of prime mover for a synchronous generator. And to control the voltage, we can either control excitation EMF, or we can use the reactive power compensation that we'll see later on to control the voltage at any bus or any terminal. Next is there should be reliable power supply. Okay, that means there must be lesser faults, or power supply must be continuous. Okay. So in this, generation and transmission are covered, that the power supply must be reliable. Okay. Next is effective protection. Why? So that my power system does not get damaged. If power system gets damaged, then what will happen? That equipment will become non-functional and there will be power shortage, or there will be power cut in certain areas. That is why protection must be good, so that no equipment or no apparatus gets damaged. Otherwise, there will be two effects. One is the power cuts, other is the cost of the system will increase, because you will have to replace that equipment, or you will have to repair that instrument. So due to which there will be additional cost involved, and cost of the system will increase, due to which our first objective will be violated. So here we study about fault analysis and protection, power system protection. Okay. Next is generators must be stable. Stable means after a fault or after a disturbance, they must be able to return to their original position and supply whatever power is required. So here we will study about stability of power systems. Okay. And last is flexible power transfer. That means we should be able to transfer the power by means of overhead lines as well as by means of underground cable. What are overhead lines? The lines that are installed on towers that you can see in your surroundings. Since they are going over your head, they are called as overhead lines. The lines which are laid underground, which are not visible to the consumer, are called as underground cable. Okay. So these are the topics that we will cover to meet different objectives of the power system design. Now let us talk a bit about economic power generation. Okay. So economic power generation means that the power generation cost of generation should be minimum. How can the cost of generation be minimum? The cost of generation can be minimized by placing the generating station near to the load, so that transmission losses and hence the transmission cost or the cost of transmission line is minimized. Secondly, generating station must be near natural resources. So what will happen if generator is near the natural resources? Then the cost of transportation of fuel, like the coal, must be transported to a thermal power plant, then only it can be utilized. So that cost can be saved. Okay. So these things must be taken care when we are setting up a plant. Other things are, the power plant must be reliable. Okay. And capital cost must be less. Capital cost is initial investment. So whenever we are creating a plant or whenever we are setting up a new plant for generation of power, we must take care of these things so that the cost is less and so that our electricity bill will also be less. Now let us discuss certain terms which are related to the economic power generation. First one is the load curve. Now when we plot the demand with respect to time, how much power is demanded by a load with respect to time, it is called as a load curve. Why is it important? So that once we know that this much power will be demanded at this times, the same pattern will repeat each day. Why it will repeat each day? If you observe your schedule, if there is no public holiday or any holiday is coming, every weekday you will have the same schedule. Most of the people who are working will go to job from 9 to 5. Hence the schedule repeats, or all the industries will be working from 9 to 5, all the schools will be working from 8 to 2. That way the power consumption is periodic. Almost same power will be consumed each and every day. It will be repetitive. So once we have load curve for one day, we can assume the same load curve will be repeated each and every day. That means I know what kind of power will be demanded during the day. So that whenever the power demand is high, I must schedule the power generation. That is, I must be able to generate power to meet that demand. If the demand is low, I must switch off some generators so that power generation is also low. So that is why this load curve is important for scheduling of power generation. Okay. So from load curve we can see there are three parameters that we have defined. AD means average demand. This means maximum demand and this means minimum demand. from the load curve we can determine three things: average, maximum and the minimum demand. And area under the load curve, so integration of power with respect to time gives us energy, energy demand, and usually if we neglect the losses, this will be equal to energy generated. So these are the how many units need to be generated in an entire day or a year. If this is plotted from 0 to 24 hours, it is called as a daily load curve. So how is a daily load curve useful? It is for the control of power system. That means what power must be generated during what time of the day. Okay, which generator should be operating during the daytime, which should be operating during the night time. That way we can control the generation to supply the daily power or daily load curve. Next, we can plot the monthly load curve, that is for an entire month. And if we calculate the area of the monthly load curve, that will give us the energy consumed during the entire month, so that we can supply the bill to the consumer, how much energy he or she has consumed during the entire month. Based on that, he will pay the bill. So monthly load curve can be used for billing. Okay, similarly we can plot it for an entire year. Yearly load curve will help us plan in the power system. That is, based on the yearly load demand, we can ensure how much fuel will be required during each time of the year, so that we can plan the power system. Okay, that much fuel will be required. Suppose the most fuel is required during the month of June due to summers. That means we must have more fuel availability during that time. So it is used in planning of the power system. So daily load curve is used for control, monthly load curve for billing, and yearly load curve for planning of power systems. Next term comes connected load. Now, suppose in our homes we have 4 tube lights, 5 fans and then 2 ACs. But not all will be working at the same time, but all will be counted as the connected load. So connected load is nothing, sum of rating of all loads that are connected to power system, whether or not they are on or off. Okay, so what happens is connected load will be taking all the loads into consideration, even if it is working or even if it is not working. That means whatever load is connected to power system is called as connected load. Okay, so we will see how it is important. Next is the average demand. Okay, average demand means P average, that is 1 by time period integral P dt 0 to t. Integral P dt 0 to t is energy in time t. So that is number of units generated. Energy means units, kilowatt hours, divided by time period. And as I told you, number of units generated can be derived from the load curve. So average power or average demand is equal to area of load curve by duration. Whatever is the area of load curve, if it is a monthly load curve, then we will take corresponding to 1 month, and if it is yearly load curve, we will take corresponding to 1 year. But for a daily load curve, we will take 24 hours. Okay, so that is your average demand. Whatever is the demand means how can we approximate using a single value, that is the average demand, because demand will be varying throughout the day. During the day I might be switching on fans, during the night it might be cold, so I might be switching it off. So that means whatever power I am demanding from the power system will be varying throughout the day. So to give it a single value, we use the average value of that demand. Now some factors are defined with respect to the economic power generation. They are pretty important. First is the demand factor. Now demand factor is maximum demand by connected load. Okay, now maximum demand will be when the maximum number of loads will be switched on simultaneously. But connected load takes care of the loads which are on as well as which are off. That means connected load will always be greater than the maximum demand. Now suppose during the day you are operating one AC in your home, 2 fans and 3 tube lights. But there are 2 ACs and 5 fans and 2 tube lights. That means you are not operating all, but connected load will take care of all the loads. But whereas maximum demand will take care of how many maximum loads you have switched on at a single time. So this factor will always be less than 1. Okay. So that is why it is because all the loads may not be switched on at the same time. If all the loads are switched on at the same time, the demand factor will be 1, as maximum demand will be equal to connected load. Next is load factor. It is average demand by maximum demand. This is one of the most important factor. This you must remember always. Okay. So now this factor will always be less than 1 because average will be less than maximum. But what we want is, suppose this is my load curve. If average is equal to maximum, then what will happen? Maximum will be less because now this is maximum and this is average. If demand factor is unity, that means maximum will be equal to average, so maximum will be less. Now in a power system, always the supply or the capacity of the power system should be greater than the maximum demand. Otherwise what will happen? The supply will be less than the demand. We will not be able to meet the demand and there may be power shortage in the power system, which can lead to blackout. Okay. So that means the capacity of the power system should always be greater than the demand. So that means the capacity is should be greater than the maximum demand. Okay. So that even we can meet the maximum demand in a power system. Now if you have to keep a high capacity, then the cost of the system will be high. So if maximum equal to average, then maximum demand will be lesser. That means the capacity required will be lesser. That means the cost of the system will also be lesser. So from economic point of view, it is always better that the load factor should be close to unity as possible. Okay, that will reduce the cost of the system. Next is the diversity factor. Now diversity factor indicates how the loads are diversed or divided throughout the day. So diversity factor will be sum of individual maximum demand divided by maximum demand on power station. Now suppose I divide the day into 3 times. Let us say night 12 to morning 6. Then morning 6 to evening 6. 6 to 12. Here let us say night 12 to morning 6 the power demand will be lesser. Let us say 50 megawatt. Morning 6 to evening 6 power demand will be higher. Let us say 200 megawatt. And here 6 to 12 let us say 100 megawatt. So maximum demand on the power system is 200 megawatt, but the sum is 50 plus 200 plus 100 by 200. So that is 350 by 200, 3.5 by 2, 1.75. So this factor will always be greater than 1. Now suppose the loads were more diverse. That is, let us say 12 to 6 we have more power consumption, let us say 100 megawatt. 6 to 6 we have 150 and 6 to 12 again 100. That means I have made the loads more uniformly divided throughout the day. Now it will be, the sum will be same, 50 megawatt has been transferred to here. That is 350, but the maximum demand is 150. So it will be greater than 1.75 because denominator is reduced. So diversity factor should be as high as possible so that loads are distributed throughout the day and the maximum demand at a time on the power system is reduced, because now the installed capacity of the power system should be greater than 150. Earlier it should have been greater than 200 because installed capacity must always be greater than the maximum demand. So by making the loads more diverse or more distributed throughout the day, we have reduced the maximum demand on the system, and that is how we have reduced the installed capacity and the cost of the system. So diversity factor should be high. Now to increase the diversity factor, what we must do is we must increase the power consumption during the night time, because during the day most of the people will be consuming power, but during the night they might be sleeping and they may not be consuming as much power. So if you want people to consume the power during the night and lose their sleep, you must give them some incentive why they must do so. So that is done by providing power at a cheaper rate. Okay, so what we do is we generally provide incentive to the farmers that if they do the farming during the night time, then we will provide power at a lower cost. So that way they are saving their power and we are increasing the diversity factor of the power system and saving the cost. So it is a win-win situation for both the parties. Next, let us consider some factors connected to the supply. First is the plant utilization factor. Means how efficiently you are utilizing the plant. It is maximum demand by rated capacity. Okay, suppose maximum demand is 150 megawatt, then your capacity should always be higher as you must be able to meet the demand. So this factor is less than 1. Okay, but it must be as close to 1 as possible so that we are effectively utilizing the capacity. Now suppose the capacity is 200 megawatt but the demand is 50 only. That means you are wasting 150 megawatts capacity of the plant. It can generate 150 megawatt more, but you are not using that additional capacity. So that means this factor should be as close to 1 as possible so that we are efficiently utilizing the plant. Next is called as plant capacity factor or even plant factor. Okay, so whenever we are talking about plant factor, you must remember it is a plant capacity factor. Okay, so this is equal to average demand by rated capacity. Okay, means how much is the average demand throughout the day and how much is your rated capacity. This will also be less than 1. Because if maximum demand is less than rated, so average will always be less than rated. Okay, so we can express it like this also. Average by max into max by rated. Average by max is load factor into plant utilization factor. So this can also be expressed in this form. Okay, and this can be expressed in one more form, plant factor. It is the average into time divided by capacity into time. Average into time is energy generated, whereas capacity into time is maximum energy. Means suppose I am generating 200 units, but I could have generated 400 units, then plant factor will be 0.5. Okay, this T is called as service hours. Service hours means for how much duration the plant is working, because it will be down for some duration for the maintenance purpose. So that is called as service hours. So you have to take care that it's the actual energy generated is average demand into the number of service hours, whereas the maximum energy that could be generated will be based on capacity. That is, if the plant was working on the full load during that entire duration, then it will be able to generate more power. That is the maximum energy that could be generated. Okay, so that is your plant capacity factor or plant factor. Next is your service factor. Service factor is similar to duty cycle. So it is equal to operating hours upon total hours. That is, suppose in 24 hours I work only for 8 hours, then my service factor will be 1/3. Okay, so it indicates a duty cycle, that is on time divided by the total time. That is my service factor. And the last factor that is connected to plant is plant use factor. Okay, now plant use factor is energy generated, that is average demand into total duration, divided by capacity into number of operating hours. Okay, that is your plant use factor. So it is energy generated by the energy that could have been generated. Okay, and the last is called as reserve capacity. So reserve capacity is nothing but it is the capacity minus maximum demand. So that much power we have in reserve, so that if ever the peak in the demand occurs, or if somehow we have to supply more power, then we must be able to support it. So that is why I was telling you installed capacity must always be greater than maximum demand, so that in case of a power surge you must be able to supply that. And the last is your loss factor. Loss factor is average loss divided by loss at peak load. That is your loss factor. Okay, so out of this what you must remember is load factor, then plant factor, then use factor, and reserve capacity. These four factors are most important from gate point of view. So let us summarize what we have learnt in this lecture. We first saw what is a power system. Then we saw the schematic of the power system, that is generation, transmission, distribution and utilization. And then we saw objectives on basis of which we create a power system. Then we saw economic generation, in which we saw various terms. First one was load curve, that is variation of load with time. Then we saw connected load, that is the sum of rating of all the loads connected to the power system. Then we saw demand factor, that is maximum by connected. Then we saw load factor, average demand by maximum demand. Then we saw diversity factor, okay, which indicates how diverse our load is distributed. Then we saw plant capacity factor, plant use factor and plant utilization factor. Then we saw reserve capacity, service factor and loss factor. Okay, so this is what we have covered in this lecture. In the next lecture, first we will see some problems based on these terms that we have learned today, and we will see the per unit system so that we can use in the coming units. So that is all for this lecture.
So my friend, if you want to join Unacademy, if you liked the lecture, if you like the content that you have just watched, and you have decided that Unacademy is the right place for you, and you want to learn with me, you want to learn from me, then don't hesitate and call on this number. Okay. Other than that, my friend, without any delay, right now download Unacademy learning app in your mobile, because that is where we are conducting free classes every day that will boost your GATE rank. So if you decide to take subscription, click on GATE and ESE, click on get subscription. After this, you can choose the plan that you want to opt for. The final year and dropper can take 1 year plan, second and the third year can take 2 year plan. But don't forget to use the code Ankit ESE. This will give you 10% off, as well as it will bring you under my guidance. And as you can see, the prices are really affordable, my friend. It is much less than any other institute can offer you, and that is why I keep repeating, Unacademy is not an academy. It is a revolution. It is a feeling. You can make the payment by credit, debit card, EMI, net banking. Also, EMI is available on debit card, but for HDFC debit card and Bajaj Finserv debit card. So if you are from a weak financial background, you can pay the amount in installments, but only use the code Ankit ESE. And my friend, these are some videos where I have told how to study, how to get the best rank in GATE, and these videos will really help you in cracking GATE. So make sure that you watch each and every one of them. And my friend, these are our other channels, like for mechanical we have, for civil also we have, for computer science we have for SSC, JEE, all branches, electrical, mechanical, civil. And on this channel we have the previous year question video solution, that too free of cost. And many more channels will be coming very soon for you guys. So be a part of our YouTube family and you can take the benefit of all the free content that we are bringing. And my friend, this is my Telegram channel where you will find the notes of each and every lecture that I take. And this is my Unacademy profile which you can follow to watch my content for free on Unacademy, because there also I am taking regular free classes. So if you can't afford to join Unacademy, then keep associated with us, keep sharing the content that we are providing, and work towards making this YouTube family bigger and better. We'll keep bringing more and more content for you, and the only fees that you have to pay, my friend, is that you have to work hard and you have to share and like each and every video that we are uploading. So that way this family gets bigger. Even the student in a rural area can take the benefit of the free initiatives that we have started. And my friend, you also get the best rank in GATE without having to stress about how to pay. So if you can't be paying or you can't afford to pay, then make sure that you are building this YouTube family, a bigger and a better YouTube family, the biggest and the best community of all electrical engineers. So that is all from my side. See you again in the next lecture. Thank you.